Alright, hello and welcome to another Warframe builds video. So, today we're going to be talking about Inaros, who does not have a proper builds video yet. Even though I use him really often, because Inaros is a very, very good Warframe. So, in general, this is what I'm running on Inaros. There's one mod slot here that is like really not stable and changes a lot, and that's right here with Streamline. I find Streamline to be totally fine here. Sometimes I put Firewalker in there if I need to go fast. Sometimes it's Constitution. This slot changes out a lot for me, and will probably be an augment, provided we get really good augments for Inaros, whenever those come out. But the rest of this build is pretty much set. Prime Flow, Rage, tons of energy all the time, which is why you really don't need the Streamline, but you can use it if you really want to spam. Steel Fiber and Vitality for tons and tons of effective health, like a very huge amount of effective health. Prime Continuity for more duration on my stuns, and then huge amounts of range on my stuns. Power Strength, also, I know there are some people that want the heals to be a lot better, his AoE heals, so using an Intensify here is also probably fine. Not something that I often do, because I am mostly healing with finishers, which is part of Inaros' passive, of course. That and his Sarcophagus, which almost never sees use. But, it's very hard to kill him. Also, other thing that's really important here is Handspring. So, one of the things that can kill Inaros is being knocked down. Long knockdowns can actually really get Inaros killed. So, Handspring is just an insurance mod, making sure that you get up off the fucking ground. But yeah, the build is pretty simple. Just huge AoE CC and tank shit. It is worth noting, as you can see I have my cat with me, because of the way that Kavat and Kubro mods work with Link health here, 135% health Link. It depends on your main Warframe's health, what they're getting. So that means my Catastrophe has 6,500 health, as opposed to let's grab Ember, I guess, which would give 1,200 health. Big difference there. So, if you're going to use Inaros, the cats and dogs are really good. If you just want a companion that will just never ever die. So yeah. Also, the Karst, because he can open enemies to finishers, you can use Covert Lethality, which is really good. Vacor Murloc and Vacor Heck. If you don't want to use finishers, these weapons are really powerful on Inaros, because they heal 25% of your health every time their proc goes off. So 25% of your health is like 1,100. It's a pretty good heal. And Inaros he's just a control Warframe. It's really hard to take him down, and it's a real chore for enemies to even have a way to fight him a lot of the time if you're playing him effectively, which is awesome. He can, of course, still get caught out and killed, though, at really high levels, which is a bit unfortunate, but can be avoided with proper play. Also, you can see I have my Scarab armor charged up. That means I've got another set of base armor, or I've got my base armor as an extra 100%. Because that ability is charged up. That does not scale with Steel Fiber, unfortunately. See my finishers. Take out the bombards and such. Heal myself right back up. Unfortunately, my procs won't go off here. These enemies are worth quite a bit of affinity, and it would probably go up about 3 times in the Simulacrum, if it were able to. But yeah. You can kind of just fuck shit up. His main thing is his Desiccate, because this opens enemies to finishers and stuns them briefly. His 3 is this. I don't use this super often, because it's a... Well, A, it kind of just dunks enemies off the sides in here, which is not very good. But B, it puts enemies way up in the air and it makes it hard for your team to kill them. So that's not very good. Charging up Scarab Swarm. You saw I fired Scarab Swarm and it stunned everybody for a little while. It creeps along to multiple enemies. And I want to show Devour. Let's bump this up to 140 and do this test again. Because he is, of course, a form of Warframe. So for... Oh, whoops. There's a hole there. So for Devour, you can grab them and just pull them in and eat them. And you're invincible while you're doing this, which is really, really important. Because you can be invincible and heal while you're doing this. I might die because I put myself in a kind of bad situation. I'm going to wait until that grenade goes off at least. Alright, there we go. He's my 4. He's my 4 here as well. And then I'm going to want to get rid of these Ancients because they are priority targets. Also, just being around these guys will heal me because they are within my 4. Which is very, very, very strong. Getting rid of the bombards is really important. Also, worth noting, you can only blind them from the front, because if you don't throw sand in their eyes, they won't be blind, which makes sense. Not hugely important. And this, you can see you can recharge your Scarab armor whenever you're just hanging out with them. Just because they're healing you so fast. And this is at like the really low power strength that I'm at. Most of it is because these guys don't have a ton of armor. Whenever enemies have like tons and tons and tons of armor, that's usually whenever you get to the point where you're not healing super a lot unless there's a ton of guys. But it's not a huge deal. And then here's the tornado. You can see it really throws enemies about. Which is not like it's not my favorite, but it's still useful for getting enemies out of your way. Then you could also just use Devour as a hard stun, like a really hard stun. This lasts for like 45 seconds with my build, and then you can walk up to them and still eat them. And if you completely devour them, they'll turn into a sand shadow, but those aren't particularly useful, I find. But yeah, Inaros is a tank with a lot of control. He can kind of, like, if you just set him up right, and you're not fighting enemies that are, like, level 400 or something, then he can kind of just control the battlefield and just kind of force the enemies into what he wants them to do. Which is usually being stunned, being eaten, or being murdered. It's pretty solid, though. But yeah, that's Inaros. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.